some more from your house. Okay.
Want to pretend you know about engines?
Nah, I'll just chat with CarMax online instead.
Want to get pre-qualified from your couch?
Woo!
Want to get that car
ASAP!
You want to do it your way.
Want to drive? CarMax.
1 in 8 women have thyroid issues.
Am I the one? I am kind of tired. I should see a doctor. Is it genetic? Does my health plan even cover tests like that? In-network? Out-of-network? Why is this always a whole big thing? Wait. I have Kaiser Permanente. So my coverage includes regular preventive care. Guess it doesn't have to be a whole big thing.
Kaiser Permanente. Healthcare that just works.
15 years ago, PG&E launched Power Pathway, an education and job training program developed to increase the number of skilled workers in the energy industry. Since then, 85% of the graduates have been hired by PG&E or the construction utility industry, focusing on students in underserved communities, women, and military veterans. Power Pathway is helping the next generation of PG&E energy professionals build a better future for themselves and a clean energy future for California. To learn more, visit pge.com/powerpathway.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Charlie's battery is struggling to start. Not ideal before the tailgate, so he goes to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone,
where a friendly AutoZoner tests his battery for free. Looks like he needs a new one, so he gets a Duralast battery.
have fun and stay warm.
And he makes it to the tailgate early enough to get his favorite spot. Free battery testing and charging. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Thanks for showing up, Dub Nation. Nothing beats catching your Warriors IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Warriors at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Warriors and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Warriors tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Dub Nation.
Hey, Dub Nation. If you're traveling to cheer on the Warriors this season, then the most important thing to pack is the United Airlines app. You can track your bags, change your flight or your seat, get a personalized map of the airport terminal, even talk to a live customer service agent. It's like having a travel agent in the palm of your hand for free. And yeah, that technically makes it a free agent. Download the United app and book your next trip today. United, proud to be the official airline of the Golden State Warriors.
Dub Nation, this is Brandon Pajemski. Welcome back to the Warriors broadcast booth, presented by DoorDash.
Tonight, the Grizzlies were led by John Morant, 23 points and 9 assists. Warriors play tomorrow. Special start time, 7:30 with the pregame show, 8 o'clock with the tip. Again, 7:30 with the pregame show, 8 o'clock with the tip. Good night from Chase Center. Warriors 131, Grizzlies 118.
Toyota's legendary truck event is on, and the deals are legendary. Get low APR plus 500 bonus cash on 2025 Tacoma, or get a low-cost lease on Tacoma Double Cab, or get low APR or up to $3,000 cash back on 2025 Tundra. Get to your Toyota dealer now, because this truck event is gonna be Toyota. Let's go places. Offers available through TFS to buyers with Premier Ready Credit. Cashback available through TMNA and cannot be combined with other offers. Ends 11/3/25.
15 years ago, PG&E launched Power Pathway, an education and job training program developed to increase the number of skilled workers in the energy industry. Since then, 85% of the graduates have been hired by PG&E or the construction utility industry, focusing on students in underserved communities, women, and military veterans. Power Pathway is helping the next generation of PG&E energy professionals build a better future for themselves and a clean energy future for California. To learn more, visit pge.com/powerpathway.
NBA fans, the race for the Emirates NBA Cup is on.
Let the games begin.
30 teams will start, but only 8 will advance.
Oh, he puts it in!
And only one champion will capture the cup.
Let's go!
To finish first, they'll have to put the pedal to the metal. Who will capture the cup? Well, let's see what happens on the court.
Basketball is back!
Emirates NBA Cup Group Play begins Friday on Prime.
Hey, Dub Nation. If you're traveling to cheer on the Warriors this season, then the most important thing to pack is the United Airlines app. You can track your bags, change your flight or your seat, get a personalized map of the airport terminal, Even talk to a live customer service agent. It's like having a travel agent in the palm of your hand for free. And yeah, that technically makes it a free agent. Download the United app and book your next trip today. United, proud to be the official airline of the Golden State Warriors.
What's up, Dub Nation? Do you want to get cash back on Warriors gear? All you have to do is sign up at Rakuten.com/Warriors, where you can earn 10% cash back in store and online at Warriors Shop. Once you're a member, shop your favorite stores like Fanatics and Ticketmaster and watch the cash back add up in your account. Rakuten is the most rewarding way for you to shop and maximize your savings. Join Rakuten for free today at Rakuten.com/Warriors or download the Rakuten app. That's RAKUTEN.
Kia is the official automotive partner of the NBA. And we think about basketball a lot. The plays, the swagger, the glory, the game. And how we can elevate our own game with capability that takes us to another level. And ground clearance that propels us even higher. The 3-row 2025 Kia Telluride X-Line all-wheel drive. Kia, official vehicle partner of the Golden State Warriors. Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Always drive safely. Limited inventory available.
No matter what you're eating during today's Warriors game, sharing a jar of Mazzetta makes it better. Just pop open that. Unforgettable flavors with Mazzetta.
To Curry, pump fake, flyby, 3-ball. Got it with the buzzer sounding!
You've been listening to Golden State Warriors basketball on the Warriors Radio Network. Presented by United Airlines. For tickets, visit Warriors.com or call 888-GSW-HOOP.
You wish you were here.
This Odyssey Sports broadcast has been brought to you by Geico. Switch and save. Get more with Geico. The lights are out.
Curry gets it, the lights go out.
The game is over. And we're here to pick up the pieces. This is Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Gets the outlet to Pat Spencer, who looks back to the bench. And they say just run the clock out. The shot clock is turned off. Spencer on Spencer. They both grinning at each other. Pat Spencer's backing him down. He's backing him down with 3. He takes a shot over his brother. Can't find the range. And the rebound, the coward who heaves it down the floor. And that's it. 131-118 is your final. And the Warriors get the win. They go 3-1. And Tomas Isolo does not go through the usual shaking hands. He is walking off the floor with a purpose, heading into the Memphis locker room.
Yeah, some fun moments there down the stretch in garbage time as the Warriors knocked off the Grizzlies. Final score 131-118. Welcome into Warriors Wrap Up here on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy with you. What a nice win for the Warriors, and really the dream win on the front end of a back-to-back with a really tough and physical Clippers team in town tomorrow night. The Warriors controlled this game for the majority of it. There was a stretch in the first half when the Grizzlies went on a pretty big run, and it felt like the Warriors might be in a little bit of trouble, but through some unique rotation decisions, the Warriors clawed out of that hole, and they controlled this game in the second half, and they were able to get out with a win without having to exert a ton of energy, specifically from their veterans, setting themselves up very nicely for the back end of the back-to-back against the Clippers tomorrow. This was truly a team win for Golden State. 5 Warriors scored in double figures. Jonathan Kuminga led the way with 25 points. We're going to talk a lot about Kuminga tonight, I can guarantee you that, but he was the Warriors' leader in points. In fact, the game high in points, 25 points for Jonathan Kuminga. Brandon Pajemski broke out of his 3-game slump to begin the season with 23 points, was 5 of 7 from downtown. 20 points for both Moses Moody and Jimmy Butler, and Steph Curry scored 16. I mean, the Warriors scored 131 points tonight, and Steph only scored 16 of them, and Steph scored 8 points in the first quarter. The way this game started, Steph was hitting everything. He was 3 for his first 3 from the field. He made his first 2 3-pointers. It felt like we might be setting up for another Steph Curry 30-point game, 40-point game, the way he was going early. But the Warriors did not need a ton offensively from Steph Curry to win this game and to run away with this game and to score 131 points. This game had it all. It had Draymond Green picking up a flagrant foul and then dancing in front of Santi Aldama's face after Aldama missed the 2 ensuing free throws. That got Chase Center going in the third quarter. The Warriors were already on a run at that point. Immediately following that, Draymond dancing in front of Santi Aldama, Moses Moody was fouled on a three-point shot, made all 3 of his free throws. Then they got a stop, and it led to a Moses Moody 3. And at that point, it felt like this game was over. That really was the turning point in this game. There were a couple of moments in the fourth where there was a slight push for Memphis, but other than that, the Warriors kind of controlled this game pretty calmly throughout the majority of the second half. And they win, again, a final score of 131-118. Warriors now 3-1 on the season. Wins over the Lakers, the Nuggets, and the Grizzlies. A loss on the road to the Blazers. But the 3 teams the Warriors have beaten, I mean, you've got a legitimate title contender in the Nuggets, and you've got 2, teams that rightly so believe they're playoff teams, in the Lakers and the Grizzlies. Quality wins for the Warriors to begin this season, and tonight it wasn't easy, but the Warriors, they were able to just exert their will versus this Grizzlies team, and again, it really was a team effort. Stephen Curry was very good, as he tends to be. I thought Draymond Green had himself a really effective game. He fouled out pretty early. He only played 27 and a half minutes. He fouled out with like 7.5 to go in the fourth quarter. At that point, the Warriors were up by 21. It felt like it was over. You never know, though. These games can turn pretty quick in the NBA. But the Warriors did not need to exert that kind of energy with their veterans. And that's because a lot of the others, and I don't mean others in a disparaging way, I just mean not your group of veterans, not Steph, not Draymond, not Jimmy Butler. Your others, the guys other than that, played amazing basketball games. Brandon Pajemski, as I mentioned, broke out of his slump. How good was he? He was 4 for 13 on threes this season entering tonight. He finished with 23 points, 8 of 14 from the field, 5 of 7 from downtown. Moses Moody in just his second game. Remember, he missed the first 2 with that minor calf issue that he picked up in the preseason. You could tell he looked like a little rusty. His first game on Friday in Portland also did not play a ton as he's, working his way back fully. He played 22 minutes tonight, and it was one of his best shooting games in his career. He scored 20 points, 6 for 10 from the field, 5 for 7 from downtown. He was even better than that for the majority of the game. He was 4 for 5 on threes through 3 quarters. And he was a big part of that run in the third quarter that opened this game up for the Warriors. And then, Jonathan Kuminga. I mean, what do we have to say about Jonathan Kuminga? He was the best player on the floor tonight, and I did not think it was particularly close. Kuminga was awesome. 25 points. He had 10 rebounds. We're talking about a double-double for Jonathan Kuminga. Also 4 assists. He had 2 turnovers. Both were in the first quarter. So he played turnover-free basketball in quarters 2, 3, and 4. The ball was in his hands a lot. To go with those 25 points, again, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. He was 9 of 14 from the field, 0 for 2 from downtown, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. He got to the free throw line as often as Jimmy Butler did today, and he made more of them than Jimmy Butler. There were a couple of those turnovers in the first quarter that kind of left you wondering there for a second. Other than that, though, I thought he was absolutely perfect in this game. Jonathan Kuminga's balance between attacking and passing is just perfect right now. And I say balance, not that it should always be a certain percentage of attack versus pass, but it's just that he's making the right decisions in the right moments. If he catches the ball on the right wing and it comes off a down screen or it comes off him moving in some way that gives him some sort of edge versus his defender, like if he's dribbling to the right, from the right wing towards the baseline and to the hoop, and he feels a little bit of an edge, and he can get his left shoulder in front of his defender, he's taking that immediately 100% of the time, getting to the rim, either finishing, he had another crazy dunk with the left hand today, or he's getting to the free throw line. But if he does not have that edge, if he does not sense, okay, I got a path to the rim here, then he's making this simple, easy pass. And that is something that I don't think we've been able to say about Jonathan Kuminga consistently, where no matter the situation, he is just making the right decision given what he's seeing. He's seeing the pictures so much more consistently now, seeing them so much quicker, and it all just seems to be making a whole lot more sense to him. And that's just when the ball is in his hands. He was also the guy, when he was on the floor and Ja Morant was on the floor, he was the guy defending Ja Morant. How did the Warriors do against Ja Morant today? 23 points, but 8 for 23 from the field. 8 for 23 from the field, Ja Morant. And now, it was not all Jonathan Kuminga. I'm not giving Kuminga all of the credit for that Ja Morant stat line. There was, moments as well when Moses Moody was on him and some others. But Jonathan Kuminga took the primary job of defending Ja Morant. You know Ja's going to score, but you got to make him a volume scorer. You cannot let him dominate you in the paint, and Jonathan Kuminga did a pretty damn good job doing that as well. That's not even mentioning what he's doing on the glass. Jonathan Kuminga on the boards, both offensive and defensive, he's a revelation. Led the team in rebounds with 10. Also led the team in offensive rebounds with 3. The Warriors as a team had 7 offensive rebounds. Jonathan Kuminga had 3 of them. And it seems like Jonathan Kuminga's boards, obviously there are some where it's just ho-hum, ball bounced to you, and you got lucky, you got a rebound. That happens to everybody on the floor every once in a while. That's kind of often how Kuminga's rebounds were last year, honestly. Those 10 boards for Kuminga, I would venture to guess 7 of them were meaningful and impactful rebounds. Whether it was an offensive board that led to a bucket, or it was a defensive rebound that he got in motion, then pushed the ball up the floor, and either resulted in him getting a fast break bucket or an open look for somebody else. I thought Jonathan Kuminga was great in this basketball game. And through 4 games now, he has completely changed the way that I view him as a basketball player, and I give him all of the credit in the world. Because what I've seen from him through 4 years, I wasn't sure that this kind of turnaround this quick was possible. But he's proving me wrong. I think he's proving so many others wrong as well. Jonathan Kuminga was absolutely phenomenal in this game. He was a plus 15 in his 31 and a half minutes played. Draymond Green led the way, plus 18 in plus minus. Podziemski and Curry both a plus 17. I mean, there's so many things to be excited about if you're a Warrior fan right now. If you want to weigh in, give me a call. 888-957-9570. That's the number to call. It is also the Boxer and Gerson work injury attorneys text line. I got the text line up as we speak right now. Again, 888-957-9570. And I got my eyes on the YouTube chat, youtube.com/957 the game. Everything we do on YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Let's see, who do we got chiming in on the YouTube chat right now? I see a Damon. I see a no. I see a Joseph. I see a patentably fraudulent. I see a Chaos. I see a Niner Empire. I see you Sleepy Noid. Mentality, and a few others. Keep chiming in on the YouTube chat. I'll keep my eye on that. In addition, again, to the text line, and you can give us calls at 888-957-9570. What didn't you like from tonight's game? As you look through it, maybe the one thing you could say is Buddy Hield's shooting. That's just about it. Maybe the turnovers in the first half. Warriors as a team committed 15 turnovers. That's probably a few too many. Warriors would like to be around 12 turnovers, I think, but they figured it out in the second half. They committed 10 turnovers in the first half, the Warriors did, only 5 in the second half, and that's when they took this thing over. The Warriors controlled the third quarter, and it kind of felt like the classic third quarter dubs. You think back to like the peak dynasty days when they could kind of sleepwalk through first halves at time because they were just that talented, and then they'd play hard for like 6 minutes out of the third quarter, out of halftime to begin the third quarter, and suddenly they'd be up by 25 points, and the game was over. The third quarter was that tonight for the Warriors. Overall, a 36-24 point edge in the third quarter for the Warriors, but at one point,
It was a 32-17 edge to begin that third quarter for the Warriors through the first 9 minutes of the third quarter. Memphis was on a little bit of a run to close the third, but still a dominant third quarter for the Warriors. That's where Moses Moody really got going in the third quarter. He scored 12 points, made 3 threes in that third quarter. He was also good defensively too, with some blocks and some deflections. The Warriors were getting out and running. They were feeding off of the Chase Center energy, which I thought was really good in that third quarter as well. A lot to be happy about if you're the Warriors, and they didn't really have that letdown moment. I feel like at times the Warriors would have that good stretch in a quarter, whether it was the third or some other quarter, but in the past, they would then follow that up, and the opposing team would go on a big run. It kind of happened in the first half. The Warriors were on fire to begin this game. They could not miss. They outscored the Grizzlies 25-15 to begin this game over the first 6 minutes. They scored 25 points the first 6 minutes of this game. They were 10 of 14 from the field. They were 5 of 6 from downtown. That's when Steph kind of opened this game scorching, and then he didn't really score a whole lot the rest of the way. But it was 25-15 Warriors 6 minutes in. And then Memphis goes on an 18-2 run, and they took a 5-point lead late in the first quarter. They ultimately led by 1 after the first quarter, and then the second quarter was kind of more of some ugliness, honestly, for the Warriors. There were a lot of turnovers. It was kind of lazy defensively. Memphis was getting great looks. They weren't shooting very well from outside. Really, at any point, they couldn't get their threes to fall. They were 12 for 39 from downtown, about 31%. By comparison, the Warriors made 19 threes and shot 44%. In this one, Memphis was 6 for 21 from deep in the first half. So Memphis wasn't really doing it from downtown. They were killing the Warriors in the paint. A lot of open buckets, some fast break scores off of Warriors turnovers. And Steve Kerr eventually just got so frustrated by it that he called the timeout and put in a unit that we had never really seen before, ever. And a lot of it is because one of the players that was in it was a rookie. And as a result, you only have the first 3 games of the year to go off of. But I'm not sure we'd seen this kind of combo from Steve Kerr in a really long time. He brought Will Richard in with about 7 minutes to go in the second quarter. And then, 45 seconds later, he also brought Guy Santos in. So at that point, the Warriors' 5 on the floor was Steph Curry, Will Richard, Buddy Hield, Guy Santos, and Jonathan Kuminga. So interesting because it's Curry alongside the rookie Will Richard, and then you got Buddy Hield playing the 3, Guy Santos playing the 4, and Jonathan Kuminga playing the 5. I don't know exactly what we should call that unit. I don't know how many more times we will see it. It worked great today. I'm kind of thinking it was the energy and effort group. Steve was so frustrated by some of the bad decisions with the ball in their hands in terms of turnovers. And, by the way, Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler, they were both guilty of some of those bad turnovers in the second quarter. And then I think he was probably pretty fed up by the lack of effort defensively on all those easy buckets Memphis was getting, that he said, you know what, I'm just going to put in 5 guys that I know are going to hustle, are going to make the energy plays, are going to fight for rebounds, and we'll see where it goes from there. And by the way, it's not lost on me, and I don't think it should be lost on anybody, that mindset, the Steve Kerr being like, you know what, I'm just putting on the floor guys that are going to hustle. Be damned what the analytics say about this unit's shooting ability. Be damned what this might look like offensively. Is the spacing going to be bad? We don't even have a big on the floor. Kuminga's playing the 5. Guy Santos is playing the 4. How's that going to work? And Steve Kerr just said, you know what? I don't care. I'm going with guys that are going to hustle, that are going to dive on the floor for loose balls, that are going to box out, that are going to go balls to the wall to get the ball back. And it's not lost on me that Kuminga is part of that group. Because Kuminga, if Steve Kerr was in a similar situation last year, Kuminga would not have been in that group, I guarantee you. So through 3 games, Jonathan Kuminga had proven enough to Steve Kerr to where when that's what's needed, Steve Kerr feels like, I just need an energy group. Kuminga's involved in it. That's how much Kuminga has really changed, I think, the way in which not just me and you and all Warrior fans view him, but the way in which his coaching staff views him as well. Again, the 5 was Steph Curry, Will Richard, Buddy Hield, Guy Santos, and Jonathan Kuminga. On paper, you look at that and you say, oh my God, Steph Curry better be on fire. Buddy Hield better make a couple of shots. Otherwise, this is going to be a rough offensive unit. What did they do? The Warriors, they outscored the Memphis Grizzlies 13-5 with that group on the floor. It was a +8 net positive for the Warriors. With that group, they turned a 4-point deficit into a 4-point lead. Then Jimmy Butler and Brennan Pajemski came back in. But the game really turned when the Warriors trusted a unit they had never played before, and it was led against Steph Curry, Will Richard, Buddy Hield, Guy Santos, and Jonathan Kuminga. Wow, interesting. Steve Kerr was experimenting. He did not know exactly what to turn to. That's what he went to. I guarantee you, we're going to hear from Steve Kerr later, but I guarantee you in his mind, and I don't know if he was asked about this unit specifically, but I guarantee you the idea was just, we got to get some hustlers in there because I don't like our effort right now. I would imagine that's what was going through the mind of Steve Kerr and the Warriors coaching staff, and it worked out. That was in the first 18 minutes of this game. The Warriors had played 12 of their 13 active players. 13 players were available to play tonight for the Warriors, and by the way, they eventually all did, with Pat Spencer getting in garbage time. But through the first 18 minutes of this game, so the first quarter and the first 6 minutes of the second quarter, 12 of the Warriors' 13 played tonight in the first 18 minutes of this game. He tried out Trace Jackson-Davis early in this game because Quentin Post in his first stint wasn't getting it done. Same could be said for GP2. GP2 is having a kind of a rough beginning to the season, although GP2 was a whole lot better in the second half. But the GP2 Quentin Post combo, which began the second quarter, it did not work. It did not work. So Trace Jackson-Davis came in pretty quickly. And not that was amazing either, but just Steve Kerr was experimenting. And he experimented to the point where he put out there a unit of Curry, Richard, Hield, Santos, and Kuminga. And it worked. They turned a 4-point deficit into a 4-point lead. And that really was the beginning of when the Warriors started to control this basketball game. We're going to look back at the third quarter. Obviously, when they had that gigantic run, they had a 32-17 run to begin the third. That was when the Warriors really took control, but they stopped the bleeding in the second quarter, and that kind of led into what happened. What happened in the second half, the beginning of that third quarter as well. So really interesting Steve Kerr's decisions today. And I also, if you just, in a vacuum, think about what Steve Kerr is doing and the decisions that he's making and some of the units that he's going to, one of the constants in these experimental units is Jonathan Kuminga. Remember when they went to that big unit at the tail end of the game against the Nuggets that won them the game versus Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets? It was Curry, Butler at the 2, and then it was Kuminga at the 3, Draymond at the 4, and Horford at the 5. Obviously, Steph's going to be involved in all of these, and Butler and Draymond will as well. But in all of these, Steve Kerr, I'm throwing something against the wall and seeing if it sticks. Kuminga is involved in all of those. And whether or not you see how well he's playing or the stats show it or not, the points look great tonight with 25. Frankly, for me, it's not about the scoring. It's more just about the decisions that he makes with the ball in his hands. And I have said that his entire career. It's never been about the scoring. Now, do you want him to average 20 and be efficient doing it? Hell yes. Of course you do. But that's not what makes an effective player in this Warriors scheme. You will need it at times, as Steph Curry said post-game tonight, when the unks are out, and by unks he means, the vets, the uncles of the group, the old guys, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, Al Horford, etc., you're going to need that from the youngsters. But Kuminga, this is where the biggest shift, I think, has been for Kuminga, and if you want to weigh in, give us a call. 888-957-9570 is the number. It's also the Boxer and Gerson Work Injury Attorneys text line, the 415 and the 707 chiming in with some love for Jonathan Kuminga. I'll touch on that coming up in a little bit. But where I think the biggest shift has been for Jonathan Kuminga, it is that he doesn't need to be scoring the ball a ton in order for him to be having a positive impact on the game.
And that is a dramatic shift from what it was last year. We think back to what last year was for Kuminga, and when he was at his best, it was before Jimmy Butler came into town, and it was at times, honestly, when Steph and Draymond were out. He had that amazing game against the Houston Rockets. I think it was around the New Year, or maybe right before, maybe around Christmas. I forget exactly when it was, because he got hurt shortly after the New Year and missed like months. But there was a game where Steph and Draymond missed versus the Rockets at home, and Kuminga at that point, I believe, set a career high for points scored, and was the reason the Warriors won that game. Like, reason number one why the Warriors won that game, it was Jonathan Kuminga. And the Rockets were a very good team last year, second seed in the Western Conference, and Jonathan Kuminga, not single-handedly, but reason number one why the Warriors won that game. It was kind of similar, I believe, shortly thereafter, a road game versus the Clippers. I believe Steph was also out. I can't recall off the top of my head if Draymond was out, but Steph was out. Warriors at the Clippers in a really tough game against a really good Clipper team as well, who took the Nuggets to 7 games in the playoffs. And the Warriors lost that game, but it was competitive because Kuminga set a new career high for points scored. And for the longest time, Kuminga's impact was large, what was felt most often, and I guess this makes sense, but it was felt most often when Steph was out. And Kuminga had the freedom to just, I'm putting up 25 shots tonight. I'm putting up 25 shots because I know there ain't nobody else that's going to be able to score 25 or 30 points. So I'm going to do it because there's no one else here that can. And that was, again, before Jimmy. The point I'm trying to make is, last year, and I think throughout the majority of Kuminga's career, when he had to score a lot to have a positive impact. Because if he was not scoring, whether he was not shooting or he was shooting and missing, he wasn't having a positive impact. He could not go, say, 2 for 9 from the field, which happens. It's going to happen at some time this year. He hasn't always been incredibly efficient from the field. Even this year, tonight, he was 9 of 14. But he was 2 for 9 from the field, or maybe it was 5 for 17 from the field last year when he got everything he wanted, but the shots weren't falling. It was hard for him to have a positive impact on the team, on the game. And there were games where if he did not score, the Warriors were sunk. One, that's a lot of pressure to put on him, but two, I think it speaks to how he's changed his game now. Because Kuminga could have missed more of his shots. He put up 14 shots today. Say he was 5 for 14 today. A terribly inefficient game. He still would have had a positive impact because of what he did on the glass and the passes that he was making. He had 4 assists today. The number of times I counted great pass by Kuminga led to an open shot, but the shot didn't fall. Like at least 3 or 4 other times. Like, he could have very easily had a handful more assists in this game as well. So the biggest change for me, again, I'm circling the 25 points, the 9 for 14 shooting, but it's not lost on me that scoring is not the only thing that he did tonight that helped the Warriors. So many other things he did help the Warriors. Defending Ja Morant, making him a volume scorer, getting on the glass, making the right pass. He was awesome. He was awesome in this game today. And what I think is really interesting, and I talked about this a little bit on Warriors Live earlier today. And by the way, if you were listening to Warriors Live, I hope you tailed, because I told you over on Jonathan Kuminga rebounds, he had 5. The line was 5.5, and he cleared that in the first half. He had 10 rebounds today, an easy no sweat cover for Jonathan Kuminga. What's interesting, though, is I felt coming into this season that the likeliest scenario was that Jonathan Kuminga was going to be traded ahead of the trade deadline, and the Warriors were going to get a piece that they felt fit their roster and their style a bit more. I felt like that was the most realistic scenario. Even with that being the case, I felt the Warriors had a really good chance to be a really good basketball team this year, given, relative health. But now that Jonathan Kuminga is playing like this, it's hard to imagine the Warriors are even going to entertain trading him, because if this is how he's playing, there's no way you're going to get a player in here that's going to impact your team in a more positive way than Kuminga is right now. And if that's the case, then my expectations for the Warriors just has to continue to grow. So this Kuminga development really, really is a revelation for the Warriors, and I think it can bring them to a level that even I, as optimistic as I think most people, maybe as optimistic as anybody here at the station at 95.7 The Game, could possibly be about the Warriors. That optimism is just continuing to climb upward. Kuminga had an awesome game. And we're talking about a fantastic start to the season for Jonathan Kuminga. I mean, let's just run through this really quick. And if you want to weigh in, again, you can at 888-957-9570. Jonathan Kuminga's game log through the first 4 games of the season. Against the Lakers, 17 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, was 6 of 11 from the field. Great. Absolutely great. He had the offensive rebound that led to the dagger Steph Curry 3 to seal that win. In overtime, the win versus the Nuggets, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 of 11 from the field. Very good once again, and it was part of that closing group that closed regulation, forced overtime, and then won it in overtime. On Friday in Portland, it was a rough game for the majority of Warriors. It was not rough for Jonathan Kuminga. 16 points, only 7 shot attempts. 4 for 7, got to the line 7 times, made all 7 of those free throws. 16 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. And then tonight against Memphis, his best game of the season, bar none, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and was 9 of 14 from the field. Got to the line 8 more times, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. It's hard to imagine him playing a whole lot better than this. Man, he was good. He was excellent in this game tonight. I said it at the very beginning, and I'll say it one more time. He was the best player on the floor tonight. Best player on the floor tonight for the Golden State Warriors. He has something that no other player on the Warriors does, which is when he attacks the paint, and again, I was talking about this earlier, when he can sense that he has that advantage, kind of like a receiver against a cornerback in the NFL. When you have that half a step on your guy, then you put your left hand up and you're encouraging your quarterback to throw you the ball. When Kuminga senses he has that edge and he can get his left shoulder in front of his defender and kind of use that to ward him off, he's just attacking the paint relentlessly. And then you get a Kuminga going downhill who's past his initial defender. There are few guys down low that can stop that. And that's where Kuminga is special. He's always been special in that way, but I don't think he's consistently enough been able to take advantage of that. But that has completely changed. What Kuminga did early in this game, I thought, was absolutely fantastic. There was this moment where he had the rookie Cedric Coward out of Washington State on him in the baseline, and he's kind of sizing him up, hitting him with the jab step, got the triple threat going. He can drive, he can shoot, he can pass, and hits jab, 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 and then begins to drive baseline on him. Coward does a good job of moving his feet, but Kuminga puts out his left arm as the arm bar and gives him a little bit of a shove. Coward goes flying backwards. I think it was probably exaggerated, probably a bit of a flop, but Kuminga, just the physicality there, got past him as a result, an easy lay-in. And then this also was beautiful from Jonathan Kuminga. The other thing that he's doing really well, I've been talking so much about him on the ball. His movement off the ball, I think, has also improved a ton. The Warriors get all of these just easy dunks from the corner because of the Steph Curry and Draymond Green dynamic. Steph Curry has the ball top of the key. Draymond Green comes up to set the screen. And what happens when that's the case? Steph then comes off the screen near the top of the key in three-point range. And really for him, anywhere inside a half court is in his three-point range. But as a result, Draymond's defender has to go out and at least show momentarily to stop Steph so that Steph's initial defender can recover and get back to him. While that happens, it's kind of like either a quick double team or the double team fully commits to Steph. And in that moment, Steph's job is to somehow get the ball to Draymond Green, who will be free and has a lane to the hoop. And when that happens, then you've got a 4-on-3 elsewhere because 2 defenders are out past
the three-point line guarding Steph. Draymond has the ball, turns to the hoop, has an opening, and what happens elsewhere? The other defenders crash onto him, and then what the job is, the player on either corner that's planted on either corner offensively for the Warriors, you just simply cut to the hoop. Your defender's going to lose sight of you because they have to stop the ball, and then Draymond throws the easy, perfect lob, Kuminga an easy bucket. That's what happened as well early in this game, how Kuminga got 2 of his 25 points. What was really, really interesting, and I know I'm talking a lot about Kuminga, but I think his performance today absolutely deserves it. What I think was really interesting, and we got to hit a break here in a minute, but we'll get to your calls when we come back at 888-957-9570. There's this moment where Draymond Green gets he fouls out with about 7.5 to go in the fourth quarter. Warriors up 21. The game's not fully over. You feel pretty good about it, even though Draymond checks out. I think when Draymond subbed out with those 6 fouls, he got a nice round of applause from the crowd. Normally, when Draymond fouls out, the Chase Center crowd is booing the officials. And the fact that he was being applauded for his efforts after fouling out just goes to show how good the crowd felt about that 21-point lead. But there was still a lot of basketball to be played. And basketball while Steph was still on the floor. And who assumed the Jonathan Kuminga role? Or pardon me, who assumed the Draymond Green role? I gave it away with my flub there. Jonathan Kuminga assumed the Draymond Green role. When the Warriors went screen and roll with Steph Curry after Draymond Green fouled out, it was Kuminga who was setting the screen on Steph's man. So then what happened? The same thing that happens when it's Draymond. The guy guarding Kuminga, who gets, transported out to the three-point line to stick with Kuminga as he sets the screen, has to double Steph, or at least, again, show to allow his teammate guarding Steph to be able to recover and get back in front of Steph. Otherwise, like you hear NBA, coaches or the analysts on TV or whoever it is, say you can't play drop coverage versus Steph. You can't do that versus Steph and the Warriors. What drop coverage is, say, when the big that's guarding Draymond goes up as Draymond sets the screen. Drop coverage is where the big, or whoever it is, it doesn't have to be a big, but it happens most often when it's a big doing it. That big doesn't get out to the three-point line to cut off a Steph three-point shot. It happens specifically with a lot of young bigs. It happened with Zach Edey all the time last year. Interestingly enough, Zach Edey of the Grizzlies, he did not play today, has not played all season to this point. It happened at times in the postseason series last year versus the Rockets with Şengün. It also happens with Rudy Gobert. If you play drop coverage versus Steph, you will get beat. Because you, as the big, defending the pick and roll where Draymond gets you involved in it, if you don't get out far enough, which, is playing the drop coverage, right? You're dropping inside of the three-point line, getting closer to the rim. Then you're giving up a three-point shot to the best shooter in the league. So you have to go out and cover. So knowing that is the way that teams have to defend Steph, you're either going to get that open three-point shot from Steph if they play drop, or you're going to get the ball to the decision maker, normally Draymond, with the chance to then drive and kick to an open shooter or throw the lob to a guy cutting in from the baseline. What was interesting was once Draymond went out, Steph and Kuminga continued that same thing, and it became Kuminga the decision maker on that 4-on-3. After the double team of Steph, he dropped it off to Kuminga. Kuminga has the ball top of the key with no one in front of him. He either drived and would finish, or he drove, drew the defense, and dropped it off to Will Richard. It happened twice. Will Richard was the benefactor of that Kuminga catch, drive, and dish for an easy bucket underneath. And just the fact that Steve Kerr is trusting Kuminga to put him in that spot as the Draymond decision maker in that Steph Curry pick and roll where he gets doubled, it speaks volumes of the confidence that he has earned in his coaching staff. So amazing what the first 4 games has been for Jonathan Kuminga. Okay, we got to hit a break. It's Warriors Wrap-Up here on 95.7 The Game. If you want to weigh in, give me a call, 888-957-9570. I've got our
our text line up as well, and the YouTube chat powered by First NorCal Credit Union. We got plenty more to get into, plus we will hear from Steve Kerr when we come back. It's Warriors wrap up. The Dubs knock off the Grizzlies 131-118. The Dubs now 3-1 on the year and a perfect 2-0 here at Chase Center. Back with more live from Chase. It's Grandy with you on Warriors wrap up. We're back with more next on 95.7 The Game.
What's your financial future look like? At Pettinelli Financial Partners, we help you shape it. Whether you're planning for retirement, buying a home, or saving for something special, our professionals are here to provide clear guidance and smart strategies. Visit PettinelliFP.com today and take the first step toward a more secure financial future. The financial consultants at Pettinelli Financial Partners are registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Stratos Wealth Partners, a registered investment advisor. Stratos and Pettinelli are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Neuropathy is a debilitating condition that is sometimes misdiagnosed. Symptoms can include pain, numbness, and tingling in your hands, legs, and feet. Neuropathy is a progressive condition that only worsens unless you get effective treatment. SF Bay Wellness is a leader in neuropathy reversal and uses FDA-cleared, non-invasive electric cell therapy to restore nerve function with no injections, no drugs, and no surgery. The treatments have a 95% success rate. If distance is a factor, ask about our virtual consultation option. Call SF Bay Wellness at 844-94-NERVE for the $99 neuropathy evaluation and receive a personal treatment plan that is tailored to your needs. Don't wait another day. Call 844-94-NERVE. That's 844-94-NERVE. Why keep suffering with the painful symptoms of neuropathy? You deserve to live a pain-free life. Start getting the treatment you need for your neuropathy symptoms. Call today.
Now it's time for the closer of the week. Presented by LiftMaster and RNS Doors. Turn your garage into the envy of the neighborhood. Visit rnsdoors.com.
This week's closer comes from Edwin from Pacifica. Dale and Clay serviced our chemical storage bunker and dock doors in our commercial warehouse. They were highly professional and thorough. Thank you, RNS, for outstanding service.
Recently, my garage door opener was not working. I was in need of a closer. I was put in touch with RNS Doors, and they hooked me up with a brand new garage door opener from LiftMaster. With LiftMaster's MyQ connectivity, my garage door opener can be controlled right from my smartphone. You'll know when a door or gate has been left open and can close it with a tap, no matter where I am. Be one of the first 10 callers and receive 20% off a LiftMaster garage door opener.
Call 1-800-FIX-A-DOOR. That's 800-FIX-A-DOOR. Or visit rsdoors.com. R&S Doors. Look for the red truck.
All guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line.
Dub Nation, this is Jimmy Butler, and you never know when I'll be on the River Islands guest line.
Dub Nation, this is Stephen Curry, and you never know when I'll be on the River Islands guest line. So make sure to keep it locked on 95.7 The Game.
River Islands in Lathrop is the best-selling master plan community in all of Northern California. With its lakes, parks, trails, and collection of new home neighborhoods, the good life can be your life. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands?
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Confused on where to start with weight loss medication? 95% of LifeMD patients said starting their weight loss journey was simple. Go to trylifemd.com now and see the best options with or without insurance for Wegovy, Zepbound, and more. Brian was approved for insurance coverage and lost 100 pounds.
I love the fact that insurance covered almost everything because pharmaceutical prices are going through the roof. The first time I realized that LifeMD was working for me was when the hunger started going away. I never thought losing weight would be this easy. It's given me more energy. I would recommend LifeMD to anybody.
Nearly 96% of patients said they would recommend the LifeMD program to anyone who wants to lose weight. Get started right now at trylifemd.com. That's TRYLIFEMD.com.
Makita knows that pros never settle, and neither do we.
With Makita, you get tools that perform at the highest level on every job without compromise. Makita is for the most detailed pros, expertly engineered to deliver precision, job after job. When your work calls for the best, call on Makita. Makita, built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Moran with 23. Kuminga drives down the lane and slams it down. It's hammer time for Kuminga. A left-hand slam. Makes it 124 to 107.
Now back to Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, that was one of Kuminga's 9 made field goals in this game. He was 9 for 14 from the field. That one, you just heard Tim Roy describe it, was one of the highlights, a left-handed hammer. And, man, when he gets up like that and he's got room to fly, it is pretty. He and Shaden Sharp of the Blazers, who the Warriors saw on Friday, are two of the highest flyers in the league. And, man, they're just smooth. They're smooth with it when they're flying through the air. Nothing like watching a Jonathan Kuminga dunk. And we've seen a lot of those throughout his career. Like, even when maybe his minutes have been inconsistent, you see Jonathan Kuminga and his athleticism. It pops. Like, every time he's on the floor, it pops. But Kuminga as a player is now popping beyond just when his athleticism is popping, and that's a major step. I want to make sure, I talked a lot about Kuminga, the majority of the first 40 minutes of this show. I think it's well-deserved. I want to make sure, though, that a lot of the others get the credit that they deserve for the way that they played today. Brennan Pajemski had, by a mile, his best game of the season. He was 4 for 13 on threes to begin this year in his first 3 games. Three-point shot isn't, all of his game, and it's not even close, but that's just a good snapshot of how he's been struggling so far. Tonight, he scored 23 points on 14 shots. He was 8 for 14 from the field, 5 for 7 from downtown, also 3 rebounds and 6 assists, had a steal, did not turn the ball over at all, and he handled the ball quite often in this game, so that no turnovers is a pretty big deal. Steve Kerr was talking about it pregame and said, quote, on Pajemski, he's not at his best right now. He's pressing a little bit. Brandon always wants to be great. Sometimes he just needs to relax and be good, and that's when his play becomes great. And that happened tonight. That absolutely happened tonight. I thought he let the game come to him a little bit more. Pajemski kind of has this, and I think a lot of it comes from his just extreme self-confidence. And that's generally a good thing to have. Sometimes, though, it can hurt you, because if you are so self-confident in yourself, when things go poorly, you tend to get a little maybe extra frustrated. And when you get in your own head like that, I think it makes it harder to climb out of it. So I think at times that mindset, that mindset is why he's a pro, right? Like, you don't get to this level without being that kind of confident in yourself. But I think when he goes through some shooting slumps, I think that tends to then kind of leak into other parts of his game. And Steve Kerr will say it over and over and over again. If you ask about Pajemski to Steve Kerr, Pajemski's impact is so much more than just the three-point shot and the points that he scores. It is all of the small things. It is connecting Steph to Jimmy and to Draymond, and being one of the guys that can make a second unit group work. I thought this was a big step forward for Brendan Pajemski, and a good show of faith by Steve Kerr to start Pajemski tonight. The Warriors went back to a small starting group today. Steph Curry, Brendan Pajemski, Jimmy Butler, Jonathan Kuminga, Draymond Green. and it worked right out the gate when they scored 25 points in their first 6 minutes. Curry hit a three. Podziemski hit a three. There was a backdoor pass by Draymond to a cutting Jimmy Butler for an easy lay-in. Curry drove and got an easy bucket off of Podziemski's steal. It was a 7-0 Warriors start. They led 25-15 6 minutes in. Podziemski was a big part of it, and cool to see Steve Kerr show him some faith and then have Podziemski deliver. There's no doubt the Warriors are a much better team when Podziemski is playing well, and that happened tonight. Moses Moody as well. I think Moses Moody, and this is probably pretty obvious, but Moses Moody is a major, major X factor for this team because he does things that there are not a lot of others on the Warriors that can do them. Kuminga is one of them. D'Anthony Melton is also one of them, but he's not available yet. Just as a quality point of attack perimeter defender. Moody, go out there and defend Ja Morant for a bit here, huh? And Kuminga did that a lot tonight, but so did Moses Moody. There's not a lot of players on this Warrior team that can take on the number one guard or wing option for opponents. Moses Moody is one of them. He did a good job on that end. Deflections and steals and blocks for Moses Moody. And then when his shot falls, he turns into a gigantically positive player. And that's what he was tonight. He was 6 for 10 from the field and 5 of 7 from downtown. We remember what he was in the postseason. Moses Moody, he seemed like he could not make a shot. He couldn't. Like, our eyes were not deceiving us. He really struggled to shoot. But context matters. He had a hand issue that required surgery right when the offseason began on his shooting hand. He told us on 95.7 The Game this summer, I believe it was at Summer League when Dibbs and I were in Vegas for Summer League, and I think he stopped by, or maybe it was just over the phone. I can't remember exactly. And he told us that he had to relearn how to shoot a basketball because of that hand issue that he had that required surgery in the offseason. Imagine trying to relearn how to shoot a basketball on the fly in the postseason while also going out there and defending someone like an Amen Thompson or a Fred VanVleet, or in the second round against Anthony Edwards. I can't imagine there are many things that are more difficult than that. So Moses Moody's shot, yes, not good in the postseason, but there was plenty of reason to believe that he was going to be a whole lot better than that come the regular season this year. And tonight was major, major evidence of that. Now, he's not going to go 5 for 7. He's not going to go 5 for 7 from deep every night. But if he can turn into a 38% three-point shooter with that quality perimeter defense, he's going to be a major plus for the Warriors. And, by the way, let's not forget what happened when he started to close last year alongside Curry, Podziemski, Butler, and Draymond. That five-man group, Steph Curry, Brandon Podziemski, Jimmy Butler, Moses Moody, and Draymond Green. That five, when they started games together, they were 16-3 in the regular season. 16-3 in the regular season with that five-man group. Kuminga keeps playing the way that he's playing. They're not going to go back to that five-man group because Kuminga's playing out of his mind, and he's going to have to start every single game. But Moody was a gigantic part of the Warriors' success down the stretch last year, and a big reason why they got to the playoffs and made it to the second round. So Moses Moody was great today, and good to see because it's in there, and it's just a matter of time as he comes back from that calf injury and starts figuring things out once again. All right, it's Warriors wrap-up here on 95.7 The Game. I got about 15 more minutes with you. If you want to weigh in, give me a call at 888-957-9570. Let's go to Steve Kerr, though, who spoke to the media post-game here at Chase Center after the Warriors beat the Grizzlies 131-118. Warriors now 3-1 on the season. Here it is, the head coach of the Warriors talking about his win over the Grizzlies.
Steph was just talking about it, but what does it do for the group when you're getting so many contributions up and down the roster from everybody in the group?
It gives everybody confidence, and it also gives everyone kind of a stake, in what we're trying to do. And it's my favorite thing is when we can get 10, 12 guys contributing to a win. Every night's different, but when everybody feels really engaged and important, there's a spirit that's captured within the team. And I think this group has a real chance to do that. We've got such good guys, and we've got so much depth, so many people who can play. So this was a great example of that tonight.
Coach, as the game went on, the turnovers got better and the defensive presence got better on the side of the Warriors. But what was going on in that first half where there was some drop-off before everything kind of started to take off?
We didn't connect the game very well. They were controlling the game with their pace, and we needed to get the tempo under control by taking care of the ball and taking our time in possession, getting the ball to Jimmy, letting him make a play, get to the foul line, all that kind of stuff. So I thought we connected the game in the second half. Our offense helped our defense and vice versa, and we really put together a good half.
Steve, you mentioned before the game that you could feel that Brandon was pressing those first 3 games. What did you feel from him tonight, and when can you tell early in the game that he's more in the flow of things?
Well, I mean, it helped that he knocked down the first shot of the game, and but he just looked like the guy we saw all training camp and all last year, or the second half of last year once he got it going. And so, yeah, it's a great night for Brandon. He and Moses knocking down 10 threes combined. That was really impressive and fun to watch. And we feel like we've got a lot of weapons, a lot of depth. I mean, you guys haven't even asked me about J.K. at 25 and 10 boards, 4 assists. I thought he was fantastic. So a lot of guys really played well tonight.
Yeah, how about that from Steve Kerr? He later would talk about Kuminga, and I'll read you a little snippet of what he said about Jonathan Kuminga. But the first handful of questions were not about Jonathan Kuminga. And Steve was basically like, I'm surprised you guys aren't asking me about Jonathan Kuminga because that's how good that he's played. He was asked about Brendan Pajemski, and he talked about how good he's been in this game. And Moses Moody combined, they hit down 10 threes. They made 10 threes. That was impressive and fun to watch, Steve said. And he continued, quote, "We feel like we've got a lot of weapons, a lot of depth. You guys haven't even asked about J.K., and he had 25 and 10 boards, 4 assists. I thought he was fantastic." I mean, yeah, that's how impressive this Warrior team was, that Steve Kerr brought up somebody else and how well they played before he was even asked about him. Now, he would go on to say, quote, on Kuminga, the way he's rebounding, the way he's attacking the rim, that's what makes him special. When he's playing to that talent, to that ability, it changes our team. No doubt. No doubt it does. That's what I feel like I've been talking about for the last hour or so here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. Steph Curry also addressed the media postgame here at Chase Center after the Warriors knocked off the Grizzlies 131-118. Here is Steph Curry talking about 4 different dubs scoring 20 or more. 5 scored double figures, but Kuminga scored 25, Pajemski scored 23, both Butler and Moses Moody scored 20. Here's Steph talking about all the scoring from up and down the roster.
It's just that's how our offense is kind of designed, over the course of 82. How certain teams defend, and if we're able to move the ball, take care of it. We had a little rough patch in the first half, but for the most part, especially in that third quarter, when we take care of the ball, we create good shots. Everybody's capable of finishing plays. Knowing how I can be an off-ball threat, create some chaos. We got to the line, guys knocked them down. Mo came in, huge energy for us. So that's how you get through a regular season, just the unpredictability, but the confidence that, everybody can step up.
And that's important from Steph, what he highlighted there at the end. That's how you get through an 82-game season. You need contributions from everyone. And I thought tonight was the dream front end of a back-to-back game. The absolute dream, because Steph played 29 minutes and 42 seconds. Draymond played 27 minutes and 34 seconds. Jimmy Butler played 31 minutes and 22 seconds. Al Horford did not play tonight in preparation for tomorrow's game versus a physical and big Clippers team. This was the game that, if this is how you'd script it.
you control the game, maybe not from the beginning, but you control it to a certain degree in the second half to where you don't need to expend a bunch of energy from Steph, from Draymond, from Jimmy, leading into a tough back-to-back coming up tomorrow night. I mean, Steve Kerr wouldn't admit to it, but I'm sure that's part of the reason why Friday in Portland was pretty ugly, because the Warriors had to go to overtime to beat Denver. Now, not that that was bad at all. Denver's an amazing basketball team, and for my money, I think a team that legitimately has a good shot to win the West and win a championship this year. Like, that was a hell of a win. Doesn't matter if it took 4 overtimes. It's a great win. But no doubt that has an impact on a back-to-back game. The way that you want to script the front end of a back-to-back is you control it, you pull your vets out in the fourth quarter at a certain point, and you keep them right around or under 30 minutes. And that's what happened tonight. And now the Warriors feel, I think, as good as they possibly can, as good as you possibly can in a back-to-back. They feel as good about that as possible going into tomorrow's game. By the way, just really quickly on the Horford decision, absolutely the right decision to not play Al Horford tonight. The Grizzlies have a big and a good big in Jaren Jackson Jr., but he's not your prototypical big. He's more of a floor spacing big, hell of a shot blocker, but not as if, Draymond defending him is going to wear him out like defending a Zach Edey might, or like defending a Nikola Jokic might. Zach Edey, by the way, out tonight for Memphis, or like defending an Ivica Zubac would. So keep Horford on the bench for tonight's game, get him ready for Zubac and the Clippers tomorrow. That, by the way, absolutely the right decision, and we'll see if it results in the Warriors sweeping this back-to-back. Grizzlies tonight, a win, 131-118, and Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and the Clippers coming to town tomorrow. A few more minutes with you here on Warriors Wrap-Up, 888-957-9570 if you want to weigh in. More from Steph Curry. Here is Steph talking about the young players. I imagine this is about Kuminga and Podziemski and Moody and others. Will Richard as well, who we haven't really talked about, but was very good in his limited minutes tonight as well. Here's Steph Curry on the Warriors youngsters.
It's huge. You got me, Draymond, Jimmy, trying to be the anchors, but when you have J.K. playing the way he has to start the year, BP starting to, figure out his spots and his confidence and keeping, things simple. Now that you got Mo back, you got another guy that can space the floor, knock down shots. Will coming in, changing the game defensively for us, cutting off the ball. Everybody has value, and we need everybody to contribute on a night-to-night basis. And if it's not your night, stat-wise, whether you play 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is, come with the right energy because we feed off of that.
Interesting, yeah. Whether you play 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, come with the right energy. And I think that's not a message to Kuminga. That is a message that has been received by Kuminga, and now it's paying dividends. More from Steph in a sec, but really quick on the YouTube chat, youtube.com/957thegame. Robert Brown asks me, do you think anyone rests tomorrow for the Dubs? No, I don't think anyone rests tomorrow. Horford will play, and I would be shocked if Steph, Draymond, or Jimmy rest. Maybe there's, knock on wood. The only reason those guys aren't playing is if something happens to them health-wise, physically. They're not resting. They're playing tomorrow for the Warriors versus the Clippers. It is also an NBC Peacock game. It tips off at 8, which means we're going to be with you late here on 95.7 The Game tomorrow. Will not be me. Evan Giddings will be in doing that game tomorrow. A late night tomorrow for Evan, but 8 o'clock tip, which means our coverage begins at 7, although we'll be talking a lot of Warriors tomorrow throughout the day here on 95.7 The Game. One more from Steph Curry. This is an important one. Selflessness for the Warriors. That's kind of always been their key to success. It's selflessness. Here's Steph talking about that and how that's impacting the team this year.
Yeah, you want to have moments where guys feel good. I think, let's keep it real, it's human nature. Sacrifice and selflessness are great, and every team needs to have that. But to your point, you want to have moments where different guys shine, where it's not forced either. There should be a natural energy where everybody comes out and, like I said, does the little things, comes with the right energy on the court. And over the course of the season, everybody will be rewarded with the spotlight where it looks good on the stat sheet. But to your point, we'll be able to win through that process as well. So you got to talk it, you got to live it, believe that over the course of 82, everybody's going to, prove their value on our team.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff there from Steph Curry. I mentioned his name really quick before I get out of here. I want to make sure I actually bring it up. I thought Will Richard was fantastic in this game, too. He was part of that group that turned the game in the second quarter. Let me go back to that really quick because the Warriors were down 4. They were turning the ball over relentlessly. They were not defending Memphis. Their 10-point first-quarter lead evaporated, trailing by 4. And Steve Kerr searched for something new. He brought in Will Richard. He then, 45 seconds later, brought in Guy Santos, and the Warriors group was Steph Curry, Will Richard, Buddy Hield, Guy Santos, and Jonathan Kuminga. I just, called it the energy and effort group because Steve was looking for something. Because who was out there was not giving him the right energy and the right effort, and they were turning the ball over. So, Steph, you're out there. That's a given. Will Richard, you're out there. Buddy Hield, you hustle. You're out there. Guy Santos, you are relentlessly hustling 24/7, and Jonathan Kuminga, that has been his middle name this season. You're out there as well. That turned the game around. And by the way, it's no surprise that when Will Richard is on the floor, good things tend to happen, and that happened again today. In addition to being on the floor during that stretch when the Warriors, with that unit, turned a 4-point deficit into a 4-point lead, he tipped an offensive rebound. This was in the fourth quarter, I believe. Might have been in the third. It was in the second half, part of that Warrior run. He tipped an offensive rebound out. At post, missed a 3. Will Richard hanging out under the basket, tipped the offensive rebound back out to post. The defense then reacts to go out and cover the good three-point shooting post. Post pass it right back underneath to Will Richard for an easy layup. That's all because of Will Richard's effort on the glass with that tap on the offensive rebound. This is what we were talking about earlier. Once Draymond fouled out, Kuminga became the decision maker off of the Steph pick and roll double team trap. He then dumps it off to normally Draymond, but without Draymond available, once he fouled out, it was Kuminga. Then Kuminga turns, dribbles downhill towards the rim from the top of the key, a 4-on-3 situation. Will Richard hanging out in one of the corners. His defender has to step in front of Kuminga because otherwise Kuminga's just going to dunk it. And Kuminga then makes the right decision as Will Richard times his cut perfectly for an easy lay-in. Will Richard just always tends to be in the right spot at the right time. And as a result, it should not be surprising that when he's on the floor, good things happen. He's also just a really good defender. He gets his hands in passing lanes. He fights for rebounds. And there's no doubt, it is so incredibly easy to see that Will Richard just is a natural, instinctive basketball player. And those kinds of players always have a space, always have a spot on the Warriors. Always have a spot on the Golden State Warriors. All right. Final score, Dubs knock off the Grizzlies 131-118. Warriors are 3-1 on the young season. Up next for the Warriors, the Clippers are in town tomorrow night. 8 o'clock tip time. I don't know this for sure. I think the NBA wants that to tip pretty quick to 8. Normally a 7 o'clock tip means more like 7:15. I think the game's going to tip closer to 8 than a 7 o'clock game would tip to 7. We shall see. Regardless, it will be a late night here on 95.7 The Game. After that game tomorrow night, Warriors travel to Milwaukee on Thursday, 5 o'clock on Thursday. Indiana on Saturday at 4. Then they're back home for 1 versus the Phoenix Suns a week from tomorrow on November 4th. But Clippers at home tomorrow. Coverage begins at 7 here on 95.7 The Game. All right. That'll do it for Warriors Wrap-Up tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Mark Randy, signing off for my guys back in our downtown San Francisco studios. Cam Williams on the 1s and 2s. Steven Risotto and Zach Green cutting up that Steve Kerr and Steph Curry sound we heard earlier. Shout out to those guys as well. And thanks to all of you for tuning in tonight here on Warriors Wrap-Up. I think there's a crazy World Series game I got to get to watching, so I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to turn that game on. We'll talk next time. Thanks so much for tuning in. The Warriors 3-1, 131-118, the final over the Grizzlies. Clippers in town tomorrow. Thanks for listening. We'll talk later on 95.7 The Game.
Job, keep you updated on job openings, and help you land your next role. Choose Express Employment Professionals for your one connection to dozens of local jobs. With more than 870 locations, there's always an office in your area. The best part, once Express has your information, you'll be the first to hear about new opportunities that match your skills. Start by finding a location at expresspros.com and contact your local office today.
College football. Every day. The NFL. It's all football. The breakdowns. No turnovers. Only the storylines.
Patrick Mahomes is...
It's all football.
It's a Warriors game.
Your football coverage lives here on Fox Sports Radio.
Brands with real history are highly valued. Strauss was founded in 1948 by Engelbert Strauss, and it's still family-owned and run to this day. Strauss is trusted by workers all over the world. Their pants are like tools you can wear, smart pocket design, all-day comfort, and durability you can count on. And now Strauss is making history as the first brand ever with its logo on Major League